Excited to be here with the first Bernie Kosar show with the great Hanford Dixon, the top dog.
Big dog, big dog, big dog. I had to get that bark in. I hope you guys don't mind, but it's just a habit. I just can't help myself.
Fired up that the preseason training camp is behind us. Regular season games about to get started. And fired up that we're going to be doing this show every week here, giving you the best Browns information, past, present, and future. Looking forward to also bringing you up to speed on what we've been doing health-wise, on and off the field, to get us into that next century, young man.
BK, I can't believe it. I cannot believe that it's here already. I mean, can you guys believe that the season is started only a few days away? I mean, I just can't believe it. But you're right. I am ready to go, and I know you are, my friend.
Absolutely, my brother, my top dog. Baker's back and healthy. And we're ready for our opener to break that streak and get a victory for the first time, I think, in 18 years since Butch Davis and Jeff Garcia were leading this team. Wait a minute. Wait, Bake's on the other team this year.
Well, you know, it's funny because you guys better get used to this laugh of mine because you're going to hear it often. But I couldn't help but bring it out when you start talking about Baker Mayfield. I mean,
well, you know the bond that he had with him and Rashad Higgins on the field, so we should be able to capitalize on that this week.
Well, I tell you what, he can keep that bond with Rashad Higgins. I mean, because one thing about it, you can say what you want to say, but we don't have to worry about Baker Mayfield. He's not on our team. We don't have to worry about the interceptions or anything like that. So just stay where you are, Baker. We're against you, and we're going to show you come Sunday.
I love your optimism. We'll get to that through the course of the year. I do love us Browns fans, and I do love how we've booked this. Since the schedule makers came out, we've had this W put in the Browns win column since May when the season came out. Careful, it's tough in the NFL to be booking wins like this. As we get closer, the football gods are putting a little humility, I think, into us right now.
Well, can you believe this, though? And you just hit on it. I mean, for us, obviously for Baker Mayfield, was with this football team last year. And obviously our starting quarterback, a guy we just took with the number one pick. And for whatever reasons, I think we all know it just didn't work out. And for him to go to Carolina, and we open the season right now against Baker Mayfield in Carolina, you think that's going to be, boy, that's going to be hot. And I know you could, obviously it's not going to be in our stadium, but in many households, a lot of the bars, everybody's going to be watching this game. And I'm telling you, BK, Baker better not play well.
Well,
he better not play well because we're going to have a problem. He better, don't you say it. Don't you say it. I can look on your face and tell what you're getting ready to say, but don't say it.
Well, as us Browns fans, as we do our show this year, we'll obviously be talking about the game that happened and the game that's coming up each week. More to come on our Baker and our Carolina information this week because that is the point. That is the sense of stuff that everybody wants to talk about as we start the season. And our fans have been so patient and loyal to us. I mean, I said it as a joke, but this is the 17 straight years of losing the opener. There's kids, this will be the 18th year. There'll be a senior in high school this year that have not seen us win yet. So those are the type things through the course of the year. Present, Browns, of course. Past, for what we've done. I know we're a little biased. I don't believe anybody really knows about football and Browns football in particular than you and me, Hanford.
Yeah.
I think I have the offense decently covered. Not only love you on the field, I love you off the field. Your respect for the defensive side. And we got the awesome Gabriella Cruz keeping us on task here, producing and getting this with the big play. Dave McAllister, can't thank you guys enough for all the help you're putting together. But these are the type of things from a show perspective that we like to bring, of course, what's happening with our team and with the game, but also what's happened in the past, we hope to see in the future. And then some of the things that all of us, I think, people in society and as ex-players are working on from a health, wellness, societal standpoint as we're in the late third quarter. early fourth quarter of our lives, really blessed us to what we've done, what we've accomplished, and all the blessings I think that NFL football has brought to us. But also some of the things maybe from a health and wellness perspective, we're able to give back to people, and especially some of the younger kids out there that could maybe learn from some of the things that we've gone through.
Well, you know what? I'm sitting here and I got this little grin on my face, and I'm laughing because you said the late third quarter and early fourth quarter, but I'm not going anywhere. So I'm in the beginning, so I'm not going anywhere. But you're exactly right. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this show, because you're going to find content and information here about the Cleveland Browns that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. I mean, obviously, you hit it right on the head. We know this football team. You know the offense. I know the defense. That's my specialty. And we're going to give it to you each and every week. We're going to give you comments about the game, where we think the game is going to hit it the following week, who we're playing, the matchups. We're just gonna get into it, and you're going to hit on your favorite subject, and that's that you matter.
You matter. Who's special to us?
All right. Bernie and Hanford, your producer, coming at you. We laid out the objectives of the show and why you guys are doing this. A big part of the show is going to be you two going back in time, telling us those cool stories that nobody has heard about. So we are going to start our segment, The Good Old Days of Browns Football. Okay, the first thing that Twitter wants to know about is that supplemental draft, Bernie. Tell us about it and how you got to Cleveland.
The supplemental draft brings back quite a few awesome memories for me. I was a sophomore in college at the University of Miami. I do the U Matter from the University of Miami, but it really is something that's carried with me now in terms of being special and telling everybody that they matter, that you matter. But back at the University of Miami, I'm so proud that it's a top 50 academic institution in our great country right now. But back in the early 80s, college football and the University of Miami's academically was a little bit different than it was today. And you needed to graduate college back in the 80s, 70s and 80s to leave early to go to the draft and stuff. So I still had 2 years left, my junior and senior year, but I was about to graduate in finance from the business school at UM. And if you remember back to the university, to Northeastern Ohio in the late 70s, in the 50s and 60s, there was a manufacturing awesomeness of the steel mills and manufacturing in Northeastern Ohio. In the 70s, almost like today, the manufacturing within our country was really dissipating. The jobs, they weren't there. So unfortunately, the Kosar family, I'd like to tell you, we're an illustrious elite people that have, but really we've been laborers within the steel mills through the majority of the generation since my grandfathers came over from Eastern Europe back a couple century, last century. And not having jobs and then being able, I didn't even think I was going to be able to go to college. So to go to college on an academic football scholarship and get the degree, and then my father had pointed out to me that I had the opportunity to graduate. You had to graduate then to come back. But I was only 21 years old. So that guy, I'd like to tell you I was an adult, like to tell you I was able to take care of myself. I really wasn't. So always being a Browns fan, really being a mommy's boy, wanting to come home to mom, knowing that she would be around, be able to take care of it, be able to help my family out, being able to play for my boyhood team. My dad had figured out a way for me to graduate and then end up really where I wanted to go, because the supplemental draft, the rules have changed since then. But back then, you could trade picks and trade the picks. So Buffalo had the first pick of the supplemental draft. They also had the first pick of the regular draft. Back then, teams signed the first player sometimes. So Bruce Smith had the great defensive end.
Big Sexy.
Yeah, Big Sexy, who's tattooed multiple broken bones all over my body. But
and by the way, we're going to have him on the show at some point, too.
We'll absolutely have him on the show because he crushed and sacked me so many times. And my mentor, Jim Kelly, one of the toughest dudes at the U, who was one of the guys who taught me not to wear a mouthpiece so I don't have back teeth and stuff. And amazing. Actually got the Super Bowl ring from Dallas playing against those guys.
You would rub in that ring.
Oh, those are amazing football players. To go to 4 Super Bowls like that, to play like they did. And we competed. We didn't tell them this when we played against them, but they were amazing. And we're going to have them on the show because we never lost to them when we started. So we were 6-0 against them, top dog.
That's right.
We're absolutely. I won't be articulating that message when I invite them to come on the show. I'll be playing a lamb chop for that. But being able and wanting to play in Cleveland, and then really knowing the University of Miami was loaded, and we were going to be a national championship team, or I could have won the Heisman. But the reality of being able to play here, but then the family, being able to help out my family and really make a difference in their life. This is professional football. I know college now with the NILs, there's real compensation, real legal compensation that's involved now. That really wasn't the case back then, no matter how many jokes people said about under the table payments by alumni and stuff. That wasn't happening with me. So my family was in a tough spot. So to be able to get into the supplemental draft late, because if you go, I ended up signing up for it late. It didn't allow teams to really understand what I was going to do. So BernieKosar, one of the great general managers in our league, made that trade with Buffalo and ended up Houston. And ironic that Houston comes up again. Houston and Minnesota ended up having to sue the league trying to get me to go to the regular draft. And I stood firm, but my love for Cleveland of wanting to be here.
Man, I have to tell you, you talking about was excited. I mean, as a player, I mean, we were just really, really excited because, again, we had quarterbacks, but we just didn't have a BernieKosar. And I'm not just, just praising you, because your head's big enough already.
I got that big old cranium. keep going. The mic is yours.
You got that big old crane. But me personally, I didn't, BK, I didn't understand the draft, and a lot of us, we were trying to figure it out. Damn, when we heard that we pulled this thing off and you were coming to Cleveland, I mean, I just can't tell you. The guys were just ecstatic. Everybody was just so happy, and but we didn't care how it happened. We were just glad it happened, and for you to be a member of the Cleveland Browns and everything else is history, because you know how this thing took off, and obviously because every single year, I mean, with you at the helm, we were pretty much in the playoffs and right there winning football games, and that just wasn't happening.
Well, we said the joke, thank you, last week. We don't, the Bing Crosby. We don't want to be home for Christmas, okay? And then we talked about it last week, too. That era of Lakeland Community College and training camp, where you and Minnie came up with the barking and the top dog and the noise and the adrenaline and the excitement out at camp on a Tuesday afternoon where everybody's 10,000 people are cheering you on during inside drill or in pass protections or in one-on-ones. I mean, that type of enthusiasm, that type of life that resonated from training camp really instilled, I think, within our core spirit. I mean, we felt like that was part of us when we were out there, and that type of energy, that type of unity for us as players, us as a locker room, with us with the fans, was invaluable.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a quick story, and before I'm going to get off the supplemental draft real quick, but when you mentioned Lakeland Community College, it's just a story that just came in my mind. I just have to tell real quick. And it was back when you talked about two-a-days, and two-a-days were two-a-days then. I mean, now you can't do anything to these guys. I mean, the collective bargaining agreement won't let you practice, won't let you do anything. But where I was headed with this was we had just finished two-a-days, and we were walking in, and I'm dead tired, and this was the second practice in the evening, and as you mentioned, the fans are just so close to everybody. And so I was walking in, and I remember going and sitting down at my locker. This was before you got here. And I was at my locker, and I felt something, and everybody knows I'm afraid of snakes. I mean, I'm just afraid of snakes. You want to get me, you put a snake in front of me. So I'm sitting in my locker and I'm tired.
I'm not carrying one in my pocket.
Listen to me. I'm tired. I'm sitting and I feel
I don't have that many props.
BK, I feel something crawling on the back of my, I didn't know what it was. I just reached my hand back like this and pulled right here. And when I pulled right here, it was a snake in my hand staring me in the face. And I thought I was tired. I dropped that helmet, and you talking about just took off running, forgot all about it. And to this day, I guarantee you it was Doug Deacon that pulled that prank on me. But anyway, get back to the supplemental drive. I just had to. I just had to tell that story right there
Deacon,
about training camp.
Yeah, we're gonna.
It was Deacon. I know it. I know it, Doug. It was you.
At the intro to this show, and as we're going to what's happening, there'll be plenty of stories about things like that because. My mind and the CTE in my head had me digress as you were saying that to something. You turned your head and Doug Deacon threw a snake on you. I'm not going to say this for the first show because I don't want to get canceled, but I have a Charles Haley story from Dallas that'll get me massively censored right off the bat.
These are all the stories we look forward to, and we want to hear from you guys. There's going to be more of that, but how about right now?
Oh, God, there's going to be more of those.
So much more of it.
That's for sure.
Let's fast forward a little bit because we've got
Thank
Browns,
you so much.
Week 1. Let's do our Panthers preview.
Our Panthers preview after that is absolutely beautiful to get into. And I could go quite a few ways with this Panther preview. But on a serious note, for one of the things that I want to get there's a new rule on defensive holding this year. And me and Hanford used to go back to 1985 at this Lakeland Community College in practice on the field. We would yell really like cats and dogs. I mean, we fought this. I mean, I love you, but when we were on that in the rectangle, we competed hard. And the press coverage, him and Minnie were the best at it. And when you could beat people in practice, okay, you could do it in a game. I used to joke with them all the time and to the referees, you're holding our guys. This year, we said it before we started, the league wants the offense to score more points. The rules are set up for the offense, way more so than when you were holding, against us.
Yeah.
But they're gonna call more holding penalties. They're gonna call more illegal contact, touch type fouls. That's gonna be a little bit of an issue with our press coverage and how well we handle that this week. And I really like, we were talking about Carolina and kind of being under the radar. They got guys like Brian Burns, 9.5 sacks. He's had the most sacks of anybody in his draft class the last 3 years. Our line is the strength of our team. Conklin coming back healthy. I'm assuming he's healthy in that. Jedrick Wills at left tackle. How we handle our line, because that's the strength of our team with our running backs. And if that's able to get up into a lead, I really believe our team this year is really set up to, if we have the lead. I know this is kind of a no shit statement, okay? If you have the lead, okay, we're going to be able to run the ball. Do play action, do the bootlegs. I do think we're going to struggle in a drop back game and coming from behind. And when you have the lead, our defense is set up to rush the passer. I'm concerned about our rush defense and stopping the run if Carolina has the lead. So how we stop the run and who has the lead, I think, is really indicative of how the game's going to be played.
Well, yeah, and you hit it right on the head, because I've always said the game of football is controlled on the offensive and defensive line of scrimmage. I think that's where it's really, really played. And obviously, when you look at our offensive line, I mean, guys, Joe Petonio, guys, Michael Dunn, who's going to have to come in, and obviously we lost our center. He's going to be a guy that's going to have to come in and play that area. Chris Hubbard, Wyatt Teller, guys like that on the offensive line. But then you hit on our running backs. Let's face it. I can't believe, and you and I were joking. You and I were joking a little bit, but we kept 5 running backs. We kept 5 running backs, and that should tell you something, BK, about that running back room. I mean, you're talking about strong. I mean, you got Chubb and guys, a kid named Ford who came in and I thought had a tremendous
fantastic
camp. Fantastic camp, who played extremely, extremely well. You got Johnson, just to name a few. But that's where we're gonna have to take some of this pressure off these quarterbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, you saw us real heavy in the tight end amount of tight ends on our personnel.
Only
grouping.
kept two. Well, we
two, possibly three. We picked up another guy, but right at the 53-man cut, the initial ones last Tuesday around this time. We only had 2 active tight ends on it. Last year, I think we had 4, possibly 5, almost like the running back room. Absolutely, I see. You're not keeping 5 running backs, and you're only going to put 1 on the field at a time. So absolutely, there's going to be some 2-back formations, I believe, that we'll be seeing with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb on the field, in the huddle at the same time. You kind of saw that a little bit through preseason. There's some cool little plays with I was going to say Deshaun, but Jacoby in the shotgun, 2 backs in the backfield. You're almost able to. You saw the Browns working on the belly play to Chubb as Kareem flares out and goes wide. I actually used to end up in those type formations with Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner. Both those guys are somewhat interchangeable. Ernest Biner was better in the passing game, split out, almost like Kareem Hunt is. And Kareem Hunt, because I think of some of our deficiency in weapons on the outside, and I love that Amari Cooper in his regular season is coming back and his precision in the route running. But other than running the ball into score inside the 5-10-yard line, how are we going to score? And those running backs / I believe a Kareem Hunt needs to be utilized creatively within that, because there are playmakers.
Well, I was going to ask you too, getting back to when you look at our offense feature around the tight ends, and obviously you talked about the 2, Njoku and Harrison Bryant, the 2 guys that we have right now at quarterback. I would think we almost have to add someone else to that roster, especially on the as far as another tight end, because when a big part of our offense, well, I was getting up and I was getting ready to try to run around or something, but a big,
I'm slow enough I can possibly cover you.
Sit down, Hanford. Sit down. You know you can't run, but
you still run better than me, top dog.
It's almost like we have to bring in someone or add someone or
well, I concur, and I see, we signed Jesse James,
Yeah.
4th-round pick from the Steelers multiple years ago. I think he was with Detroit the last couple years. He's kind of a tight end, and I don't mean this in a negative nor positive way, but he's a tight end, a little older version of, I believe, Harrison Bryant.
Okay.
He's good in a slot receiving game, understanding probably his roles, his assignments. Is he probably a dominant run blocker? No. And that type of run type blocking is a dying art in the NFL. So it's not like lots of teams don't have those type issues, but that was a strength of the Cleveland Browns last year. And I look for Chief David Njoku, and it's not my Canes bias towards that. I love him as a tight end. I believe that him as a weapon, and him being able to want the ball and be a focal point, especially within the red zone. We say the red zone. Coach Shula, God bless you, used to call it the green zone, the money zone.
Yeah.
And we need money players down there. David Njoku.
You might want to tell them what the red zone is.
The red
There's
zone.
A lot of people don't.
Red zone. So red zone alert. You're inside the 20. You're inside the 10-yard line. You have an opportunity to score. Everything's heightened. Offensive plays, offensive systems are condensed, with the field being condensed down there. So the creativity of personnel groups, motions, and shifts is imperative if you're void of some talent or you're deficient in playmakers. I'm not saying this to be a shot, but we have not shown in preseason or last year that we have a plethora of game-changing playmakers out there. So that way, in the red zone, the scoring zone, we really have to be on our game about how we're scheming, how we're motioning, how we're shifting, what we're coming up with, what players we want to utilize. And Chief, the Kareem Hunts in the passing game, of course we'd love just to hand the ball to Nick Chubb and score, but they also know that too. So that'll be kind of the push-pull, the chess match of this game.
Yeah, what we're going to have to do too, obviously, we're going to have to get some production out of that wide receiver room, because you hit it. Just obviously, we got Amari Cooper, who's the guy, and we got DPJ. Donovan Peoples-Jones back there, and Anthony Schwartz. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, we just don't know what this guy's going to do. Obviously, he's a burner. He's very fast. He's a speed guy. I mean, we know what he's capable of doing, but he's got to really come through, because we kept him on this football team. I was shocked to see. I think they're going to Stefanski's going to put a lot of emphasis on this kid, Michael Woods. Here's a kid that,
6th round pick.
Yeah, pretty much his hamstring. He hurt his hamstring, missed a big portion of training camp, but my understanding, he must have done a lot to show them that he could play and he should be on this roster. So he made the 53-man roster. But you're right, with our quarterback not being in for 11 weeks, these guys are going to have to step up, and I mean step up big. And again, take some of the pressure, because a lot of time we're not going to be able to run the football all the time, because you know as well as I do, teams are going to come up and they are going to stock. They're going to come up and we're going to put everybody up front and try to prevent you and make you throw the football.
Dare you to throw the
Dare
ball.
is a better word. Dare you to throw the football. And when we do that, we have to be able to throw the football. And if we're not, we're going to be looking at a lot of 3-and-outs and not converting on third down.
Yeah, and it's imperative with the issues of the drop back game, and going to have probably a tough time having high conversions on 3rd and 7+, 3rd and long will be challenging. That Marty Schottenheimer, Coach Shula, the great Howard Snellenberg, who taught me about how to manage games. And people have been called quarterbacks game managers as almost an insult. I don't at all look at it as an insult. It's tough to even be on the field. And if you can manage a game, absolutely get out there and be able to do that. But our Browns team in the play calling, it's imperative that we really play complementary football. If we have a couple of 3-and-outs, okay, that's okay, because our special teams and defense, and for sure our defense, should be one of the ones that's able to stop and get the ball back and try not to overforce things.
BK, you know what Manny and I would do if we were playing against the Cleveland Browns and they didn't have a quarterback like you or Deshaun or Dan Marino or somebody at the him? We would obviously, when we got a chance, got close to the quarterback, talking to him, we would whisper in his ear and say, "Hey, we're going to make your day tough. Those wide receivers you think are wide receivers, we're going to show you they're not wide receivers." So
I love you.
You're in trouble. A little smack talking out on the
So
field.
I got used to talking smack, and I'm going to show my age here, okay? The Top Dog and Mighty Minnie, okay? We would go back and forth like that. So I would take my bravado out on Rod Woodson, okay? Or Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes out with the Raiders at the time. And I love it how you would say you would go whisper up to the other quarterbacks. Because I would have loved to play it against you, because I was talking so much smack to those guys, they didn't have time to talk to me. Okay? Because the nerve of you DBs thinking you could press coverage and I'm not going to throw it in that guy's pocket. That's not happening, my brother. It's not happening.
Bernie, what is your best piece of advice for Jacoby Brissett?
My best piece of advice for Jacoby Brissett is, and for the fans out there too, this is not being a quarterback apologist. I'm not Jacoby's marketing agent. We're victims or beneficiaries of the guys around us. I'm not also trying to crush the playmakers on the team, but they have yet to show that they're definitive playmakers that could do that consistently. So Jacoby is probably like us quarterbacks. We get way too much credit when we win, too much blame when we lose. after the preseason game, and it's just a preseason game, and the great Marty Schottenheimer used to say, nothing is more quickly forgotten than the last preseason game.
The gleam, man. The gleam. That's Marty.
Because you want to get that gleam. Get that gleam of that Super Bowl to get that ring.
Speaking of the gleam, real quick, what's it like from a quarterback perspective going against an old coach? Because now we got Baker versus Stefanski, and that was you in '89 with Schottenheimer.
Yeah, when I did it, and I love the drama that's going on this week. I loved watching what Baker's doing, what Coach Stefanski, the interest of the NFL, and all that. And it's easier to do back in the 80s than it is to do in 2022 with social media, cell phones, internet, being able to have constant communication. But when I really do overly obsess too much on getting W's at the expense of just about anything around me. So even that week with Coach Marty and him coming back, I really was able to separate myself from the emotion of it. And then when you separate yourself, at least I did, I dive right into what's your tendencies. I mean, I know Hanford's tendencies.
Yeah.
When he does press coverage.
Yeah.
He does it so much. He knows what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
With his press coverage. I hung out with Marty. I loved him. I hung out. Yeah, we argued on what's right philosophically to do offensively, defensively, and play calling. So I massively will go into everything we said and did to each other. I want to know everything he said, every little subtle, off the cuff thing, because we all say, well, he knows what he said too, and I know what he said, and we're playing the chess match off of that. In life, especially like in the NFL, which is not a truer representation of the stress of life, under the heat of fire, in the fourth quarter, you resort and revert to who you deeply are. So I was so ingrained into remembering some of the things that he did. So in that game in overtime, on third down, I kind of remembered what he was going to do around the 50-yard line. So I had a play ready for him that was able to take advantage of it.
And that's and you.
Unfortunately, my boy fumbled, though.
Well, yeah.
Not you.
Yeah, no. That's some of the advice, though, I would give to young players. I mean, players, you can't play this, you can't do this on just talent alone. I mean, you preparation is the key to really taking your game to the next level. Because study. I mean, you just have to study your opponent. You have to know, as you mentioned, every single thing they're trying to do to you, when they're trying to do it, how they're trying to do it. And you learn how to do all this, and you learn when they're going to do this by your preparations, by your studying, by preparing for a football game. So young kids, don't just think you could just go out and just do it. You have to prepare, because no one watched more film than I did. No one watched more film than you did. No one watched more film than Mayfield did, because we wanted to know how you were trying to attack this. And
enjoy the process. Love the process of preparation and stuff.
Right.
Even to, like, hey, we were just talking about talking smack.
Yeah.
Talking smack to each other, talking smack to guys on the field. And just for the younger kids out there, or the younger coaches out there, this isn't talking smack just to be an annoying prick, okay? No. There's a purpose for this. Like, I'm telling you, when I'm talking smack to Lester Hayes or to Rod Woodson, okay, bro, they're Hall of Famers, man. Yeah. I'm not talking smack to be an idiot. You look in their eyes. It gives you the opportunity to look in their eyes to see, are they afraid? Are they blowing you off? Do they look at you back like, hey, bro, I got you? Or do they got a little defensiveness in their eyes? Are they swearing? Do they look uncertain? Do they look scared? Are they cramping up? I mean, there's all kinds of tells, almost like the poker table. I mean, there's tells on people. And when you go to talk a little smack, it actually isn't just to be on TV and be an idiot. There's a massive purpose behind that person. I'm planting seeds. I mean, I would tell defensive backs what the play is going to be. They wouldn't believe me. I'm throwing a bomb on you. You studied all week. You prepared tendencies all week. You read these books. You don't need them. I'm throwing a bomb on you, bro.
Hey,
okay.
I have to tell you guys this, and this was my rookie year. coming in. We were playing, my first time I was playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And here I was, a little young kid. I'm going against Lynn Swann and John Stallworth, you know, two all-pro Hall of Fame wide receivers. And here I am, this little young kid, and I'm just talking smack. I mean, John Stallworth, I am talking smack. But you know what? He never said a word. He never said anything to me, responded to any of my smack. And later, I caught him. We were somewhere. I think we were at a golf tournament. We were playing golf, and I was sitting there joking with him. And I said, John, I said, I have to tell you something. I said, it really bothered me that you never, because I talked about everybody. I mean, everybody, him, everybody. And he never said a word. He never said a word, never responded. He just went about his business. And I'm like, damn, that really got to me. I mean, I'm like, but of course, that's my man. But we're good friends today, so that's a good thing.
We're talking all Hall of Famers now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gabby.
Okay, the Browns, you guys, they haven't won a season opener since 2004. So what is it that they're really going to need to do to win?
Oh boy, that's a good one. That's going to be. I tell you what they're going to have to do. Obviously, they're going to be playing in a tough environment. It's never easy on the road, but that's going to be a tough environment in itself. But what's going to happen is we got to turn Baker into Baker. We have to turn Baker into Baker. What that means is those guys up front have to get after him. Talking about Clowney, talking about Myles Garrett, guys like that. They have to get after him. And those linebackers, those quick linebackers that we have.
Could you keep that thought? But to that getting after Baker point is because it's a big, massive point for me too. And as we look at this game, macroly, there's a lot of things that we'd like to talk about with like Marty Schottenheimer and how Marty used to just religiously tell us that this is the one game. It's one of 16 this year. This year will be one game, one of 17. It's a marathon, not a sprint. The first game you want to win, but don't overly get crushed if you don't, because it's the marathon. I so wholeheartedly believe in that. But this year, and I'm not saying this because it's a show or to be funny, but the confidence, the belief, self-esteem, the drama, this hasn't been a normal offseason. This hasn't been a normal training camp. The confidence of this team, I think, is really predicated on what happens on this game. And we've all offseason thought this was going to be a winning game, an easy game. Now it's looking like a game that I'm massively concerned about. And to the Baker, to the line getting with Clowney and Myles Garrett, absolutely collapse in the pocket. But here's the thing on Baker that I know teams need to really pay attention to is we say keep him in the pocket, don't let him get outside the pocket. When Baker Mayfield gets outside the pocket with his spin moves, especially to the right, his accuracy is amazing. He could throw amazing dimes with spin moves, especially going right. God is my witness. If you want to win this game, do not let him sprint out of that pocket. Do not have him on the run, free creating. That's when he's at his best. Keeping him away from them spin moves, keeping him stepping up in the pocket, throwing versus coverage, not making easy throws. Like I used to talk about blitz, put everybody around the line of scrimmage, collapse and confuse us young quarterbacks. Boy, there's nothing easier than a nice fade out there when you have confusion inside. So keeping him inside, don't let him spin out of the pocket.
Yeah, and I think our linebackers, too, are going to play a big part in this game, too. We got those fast linebackers, Walker Jr., we got Phillips, those guys, Taki, who he brings out sometimes in the coverage. I think those guys are going to play a very important part.
Wow, it's like we showed up for production meetings and go over. Those guys and how they cover. Look, Christian McCaffrey, unfortunately, is coming back for the Carolina Panthers. For the non-Browns fans, just about everybody knows him, loves him. He's a dominant playmaker, a difference maker, a guy you got to shut down. They were 4-3 with him last year. They were 1-9 without him. JOK is, and I love JOK as a player, a person on and off the field. His athleticism. I think those two are going to be hopefully Siamese twins during this. So our speed and athleticism at linebacker is going to be helpful. Coach Rule's on the hot seat. Okay. He's got also an offensive creativity to him. You know that they will be also motioning, shifting personnel groups to try to throw off, get some confusion, get some matchups with Christian McCaffrey and some of their bigger receivers to take advantage of some of their athleticism. So those are the things early to absolutely be cognizant.
And to finalize this on their offense, I mean, their wide receivers, obviously DJ Moore, who's the guy that they're going to try, and Anderson, who we talked about, who's looking at start.
I think
and then Higgins,
you know,
Rashard Higgins is playing a receiver for them.
You know, I said it in the opening as a joke and stuff, but Baker Mayfield and Rashard Higgins have really cool chemistry. I mean, that was the thing I took out of Back to Freddie Kitchens, okay, and how Baker and Rashard in that intermediate seam, in that 12 to 22-yard void where the Browns have massively been deficient, Rashard Higgins and Baker had this synergy, had that chemistry. I absolutely hope that hasn't transferred over to Carolina, and I actually hope the Robbie Anderson not wanting Baker type of conversation is more under the surface issues, because they have some depth at receiver. Baker has some chemistry with Rashad. They have some bigger, nicer receivers, and Christian McCaffrey. So that type of thing for our defense, the strength of our team is our defense. We need them playing at that level, but that's going to be a test.
And even us talking about those wide receivers, I think our guys in the defensive backfield should and will be able to handle those with Ward, Newsome, who's playing extremely well. We got A.J. Green. I think we got Emerson, who the kid we just drafted out of Mississippi State.
Hey, talk to me. You're friends with our safety, the first undrafted safety, Bell, to make the team. I've been following a little bit about his story. Really fast. I love this. Is what makes the NFL on cut down day last week so traumatic for most of us, because we ultimately get whacked. Yeah. But for some of the special kids that have had a tough journey to end up on a team that's loaded at a position group. Yeah,
if you're talking about a kid that the top dog is really excited about or happy that he made this football team with this 53-man roster, is DeAnthony Bell. I mean, this kid, man, what he's gone through, BK. I mean, he obviously didn't play at the big universities. I think later on maybe he was offered a scholarship, but not really. I mean, this kid didn't have he doesn't hide this. He tells them his family didn't have a lot of money, how he had to take out loans to pay for his education and play football, and even took off a year or two in order to and then come back to play. But he, when you listen to him, and he was so nervous the day before the 53-man cut, he talked about how him and his mom pretty much stayed up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, praying and hoping he made this team. And finally, when he got the news, it wasn't that he made the team. It wasn't Stefanski. It was Andrew Berry who called him and told him that he had made the roster, and this guy was just ecstatic. And when you look at it, BK, you know the odds were against him, because I think for the first time in a long time, an undrafted player has pretty much made this roster. But you have to. It's a story for a guy.
Good thing.
You have to be
awesome
happy
for him. No, super.
Yeah,
and for the team. Thankfully, me and you didn't recommend him.
Yeah. Well, he would have gone the other way. Yeah. It would have gone the other way. Yeah. I mean, that's a story I want to get into too, because someone told me that you were trying to get a hold of. Obviously, you know quarterbacks. Yeah. And when they wanted to take Baker, you had another quarterback in mind.
Well, you know, the season's starting. The season's starting here. I want to not have my phone be
Right.
ringing and all that stuff. But in all seriousness, as you get older, and stuff, it gets harder to manage the phone, to manage phone calls. I'm massively positive. I want to be positive and uplifting the people and stuff. So I'm not looking to give shots and stuff. But man, it's getting hard. I mean, even like this weekend, like if you don't want to work for the Browns, have me recommend you.
Yeah.
I mean, have us recommend you. And I don't say that as a shot to anybody on the organization just now. It's been like that since Carmen Palsy and the Lerner family had only came back in '99. It's as older players to be able to get anybody a job, an internship in the organization. It's not happening, and it's sad that people out the street actually get mad at us or me because they
tickets
think,
or
they think you're able to just. And I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do that for you. It just doesn't. Materialize like that. And and that's not a way to say that to deflect or get away from having and I love Baker. Baker is a phenomenal quarterback, and he was one of the better top quarterbacks in that draft. But like we were joking, me and Wiz were going back and forth. Wiz at the end of Ozzie Newsome at the end of the round, he was realistic of what quarterbacks are going to be there. He loved Lamar. And you guys everybody made fun of me for my bro crush on Josh Allen, and we wouldn't have this
thought you was crazy,
No, but I mean, even then, when you have a conviction, whether it's not wanting all the way back, knowing that Tim Couch is a fantastic quarterback, but Tim Couch is going to get destroyed behind, because we are, just like we talk about Jacoby Brissett, we are victims or beneficiaries of the guys around us. The expansion team in 1999, Tim Couch was an NFL top-tier quarterback, yet and I'm not picking on the team and the O-line and the not good system that he was getting punished in, but it massively ruined his career for a guy that was really gifted. To have those opinions of that when we're trying to get a meeting with John Dorsey or with ownership during the draft, to have that same conviction, to know that and feelings towards Josh Allen, it would have saved a lot of conversations for us this week.
Well, and the thing is, it's so frustrating. It's not like we don't know what we're talking about. It's not like we don't know football. But I don't know.
And it's not even about who knows right now.
It's just
getting the best thing for our team. What's best for them? Being able to give an opinion.
Because we just want the Browns to win. We want them to win. We want them to do well. We want them to get to the Super Bowl, and not only get to the Super Bowl, but win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Speaking of the Browns winning, you guys, let's wrap up full circle. Back to this game we have coming up with our You Matter segment. We have Dave devised us for. Bernie, you matter.
Well,
that's your tagline here.
On the You Matter, I have a couple of different points on it. One of which is, unfortunately, they have a good corner coming back in J.C. Horn, who could cover and add to their defense. I really love the Denzel Ward matchup this week and how he's playing press coverage with Baker Mayfield trying to throw against him. Denzel's an all-pro, top-tier corner. Bake's going to want to get some shots. We're a press coverage team. I love how Denzel plays. 3 picks last year, 10 interceptions. He's coming in, or 10 passes defense. He's coming into his own. Baker's going to want to make those plays. So that Denzel Baker matchup, and then the JOK Christian McCaffrey is a big matchup. Is a big matchup too. From the serious side of it. I'm looking forward to that. And then from the You Matter standpoint, probably not the most important thing, because I think we've talked about some important things with our Browns. But from the You Matter standpoint, for you young viewers and listeners out there, we have a guy who was a #1 draft pick from Southern Miss.
Hey!
Back in the day. Okay? Hey! And I think they're going to get on a plane on Friday, and they're heading down to South Florida. Because they're going to play the University of Miami.
Hey, take it easy on us, please.
No,
Please
so I
take
think
it easy on us.
next week when we have a little conversation, I hope we're still loving on each other because Top Dog's alma mater is playing my alma mater this week.
You would rub that one in. I know it. I know it was coming.
See, now that's why I talk smack to the
Yeah,
DBs.
yeah, you
Look
just-
at that lack of confidence
I know
in his
it. You
team,
just- I mean,
okay?
it's not
when
confidence,
you see
it's
that
just-
in the DB and you say, I'm going to throw a fade on you, you do. The next play, he's getting a fade with that confidence.
I would much rather you throw that fade on me than Southern Miss going down to play the U. I would much rather that happen.
I love you, my man. Can't wait to see what happens this week.
It's gonna be good.
Go Brownies, you matter. Woo, woo.
The Bernie Kosar Show with Hanford Dixon. Good stuff, you guys. Just another reminder for the viewers to check us out on Twitter, and we'll be taking, people's requests, the stories that they want to hear, and doing the game breakdown. So thanks everybody for watching. Real quick, score prediction for the game.
I'm not a good on the score predictions, and I do want to be positive. And I told myself on the way over, I'm not sure on these predictions and stuff, but I absolutely am concerned this week. And I want to just say the Browns. Typically, I would be saying that even if I hadn't thought through this, but there is so much going on right now that I'm really concerned for this game right now, and I don't want to see the season have a drama-filled year. But this is an issue right now.
I think the Browns will win by 10. I mean, I really do. I think defensively, I think we'll come and I think we'll show up really, really big. I think we'll pick up our offense, help them out a little bit. But I think we're strong enough to win this game, and we'll win it by at least 10 points.
I hope you're right. I hope the game starts. How the game starts and how it ends, and we'll, of course, figure out how it ends up. But how it starts, our team does way better when we're in front. So we don't have to throw the ball, so they have to throw the ball. We want to unleash our pass rush against Baker. We don't want him to be comfortable in terms of being able to run and throw when he wants to throw. And then we want their defense to think we're running the ball and running the clock out. So our play action, our bootlegs, our naked type games, we could get Jacoby outside the pocket. He's rushed for 13 TDs in his career. He's a big guy moving out there. If we get him outside the pocket with a lead, I think that puts more duress on the Panthers.
Big Dog, good show.
Love you, brother. Woo, woo. Go Browns.
All right, we'll see you next time.